The penultimate day of the Amgen Tour of California as it celebrates 10 years and a rendezvous with the high spot of the week. Mount Baldy at some 6,500 feet. The battle between the sprinters, Mark Cavendish third and Peter Sagan, but Peter Sagan in yellow after the time trial yesterday.
A short and violent stage of 80 miles, 129 kilometres, and straight up into the mountains over Glendora Ridge, or Glendora Mountain as they call it here locally, and very early on, a six-man breakaway getting clear.
The riders went away at some 15 miles. The object was for Daniel Oss to go hunting for points in the Lexus King of the Mountains, while Team Sky, they had other plans as they kept the tempo high to try and hurt this man, Peter Sagan.
They knew that if they wanted to win this bike race overall, they had to toughen up the race, and they found allies in the Lotto Jumbo team from Holland. They were working for their man, and that, of course, was Robert Hessing, the winner on this climb back in 2012, and the overall winner too.
Halfway through the day, it was Johan van Zyl of MTN Quebec, the South African, who was trying to snatch the second mountain climb, but the first one having been won by Daniel Oss, Oss was with him again. Meanwhile, some 3 minutes behind, the peloton on the same road, the Glendora Mountain Road. Oss confirming himself as winner of the King of the Mountains there, and the man wearing that King of the Mountains jersey off the back. For 2 days, the leader of this tour in yellow, Tom Schoons.
Having done his job, but Daniel Oss sat up and waited for the main field, but in the back of his pack, the Lexus King of the Mountains competition, all he would have to do is finish the stage and get through to the following day's stage around Pasadena. But the riders still had a long, hard ride along the Ridgeway.
Watch this as Phil Dignan almost overjudged that corner, but he got himself back on the front as he continued to lead the charge for Team Sky. As they got closer and closer to the breakaway, they were becoming totally in charge on the road.
As they approached the final slope of Mount Baldy, Team Sky reduced in numbers, and all of a sudden one was starting to talk about a youngster on the block, Julian Alaphilippe. Robert Hessing in the yellow jersey, wearing number 61, the former winner on this spot, was really in serious difficulty, while the American rider Ian Boswell from Team Sky was doing a sterling job to set something up for his teammate Sergio Henao, the Colombian rider on the left,
who was now about poised to launch an attack here. He saw his opportunity just about 4 miles from the summit, and as he made the attack, so too came the counter move from Julien Alaphilippe, and this put Peter Sagan in difficulty, who until now was in very close proximity to the climbers.
Well, what a fight it was between the rider in the dark jersey of Team Sky, Sergio Henao, and Alaphilippe. And a little bit further back, in fact, Peter Sagan was not doing that bad of a ride. He was limiting his losses as we got further towards the summit of this climb that peaks out in excess of 2,000 meters in altitude.
The object for Alaphilippe was to finish more than 45 seconds in front of Peter Sagan to claim the leader's yellow jersey with 1 day to go, and the clock would start as he hit the line. His first victory of the year. There was no doubt he would be in yellow, or would he? Because there was a huge fight back being enacted by Peter Sagan. But for the moment, he was celebrating his first victory of the year.
Yes, the most important thing was the clock. It was 45 seconds was the magic margin, and that was the time that everybody wanted to see whether or not Peter Sagan could cross the line in. And everybody had dug extremely deep on this vicious ascent of Mount Baldy.
Henao comes up, but he'd been joined by his teammate Ian Boswell. Boswell taking them on in the sprint, as the two Sky riders came over second and third. But time would not see them in a yellow jersey, and that had been the Sky plan all day. And then in the backdrop, Peter Sagan hits the line, the clock saying 2 seconds too late to retain his overall lead.
Yes, that puts him into second place in the overall standings, but sets up for a very dramatic finish of the 10th anniversary of the Amgen Tour of California. Not very often you see a World Pro Tour rider suffer quite that much.
The last stage of this race now will be the Battle of Pasadena, and it's a flat stage as well. Julien Alaphilippe, yes, he's got the leader's yellow jersey, but that 2 second margin with a 10-second win bonus tomorrow, that could make the decision finally go in the way of Peter Sagan. For the moment, Alaphilippe in yellow. No contest for the Visit California points competition. That's still Mark Cavendish. On the right there, the first winner of the week, Daniel Oss, who is the King of the Mountains, sponsored by Lexus. There's the overall standings going into the last day. Couldn't be much closer, could it? Sagan just 2 seconds off the yellow now, and that will go down to the sprints tomorrow. A little bit of a change in the top 10. Rob Britton, though, hanging on in there for Smart Stop in Canada. He's 10th overall.